Hello everyone, in this video we are going to solve the Leetcode question number 64, minimum path sum. The question is, given an m cross n grid filled with non-negative numbers, find a path from top left to bottom right which minimizes the sum of all the numbers along its path. And there is a note given, you can only move either down or right at any point of time. Here is an example of a grid. In this grid, one is the top left and one is the bottom right. From the top left, we can move either down or to right. In order to reach the bottom right number, the minimum path sum is 1 to 3, 3 to 1, 1 to 1 and 1 to 1. So the minimum path sum is 7. Hence, we are returning the output as 7. And there is another example given here. We have a 2 cross 3 grid here. For this grid, the minimum path sum is 12, which is 1 to 2, 2 to 3 and 3 to 6. Hence, we are returning the output as 12. Let's see the approach how we can solve this problem. Let's take an example of this 3 cross 3 grid. In this grid, we have 1 as the top left element and 1 as the bottom right element. We have to find a path from top left to bottom right with minimum path sum. In order to traverse, we can either move to right or to left. We have 6 different possibilities to reach from top left to bottom right. The first possibility is 1, 3, 1, 1, 1, which has the path sum of 7. The next path is 1, 3, 5, 1, 1, which has the path sum of 11. The next path is 1, 3, 5, 2, 1, which has the path sum of 12. The next path is 1, 1, 5, 1, 1, which has the path sum of 9. The next path is 1, 1, 5, 2, 1, which has the path sum of 10. The next path is 1, 1, 4, 2, 1, which has the path sum of 9. So out of the 6 paths, the path which has the minimum path sum is the first one, which has the path sum as 7. Here is the minimum path sum. Let's see how we can solve this problem. Here is our grid. First, we have to traverse through the first row from the second element to the end of the row. We will change 3 to the sum of 3 plus the previous row element. We will change this value to 4. For the next row element, we will add to the previous row element, which is 1 plus 4, which is 5. For the first column, we will iterate from the second element. We will add the second column element with the previous number, which is 1 plus 1 makes 2. Similarly, for the next column element, we will add with the previous element, which is 4 plus 2 makes 6. We have iterated the first row and the first column. Now we have to iterate the remaining elements. Let's take the first element. We will add 5 with the minimum of either 2 or 4. In this case, 2 is the smallest number. So 5 becomes 7, which is 5 plus 2. Similarly, for the next element, we have either 7 or 5. Out of 7 and 5, 5 is the smallest. We will add 5 with this element. So 5 plus 1 makes 6. Similarly, for the next element, we will compare with either 6 or 7. Out of 6 and 7, 6 is the smallest. So we will change the value of 2 to 8. So 2 becomes 8. Similarly, for the next element, out of the 2 adjacent elements 8 and 6, 6 is the smallest. So we will change the value of 1 to 7. We have reached the bottom right number. we will return the bottom right element, which is 7. I hope the approach is clear. Now let's get into the implementation. First, let's find the row length. Row length equal to length of the grid. Now let's find the column length. Column length equals to length of grid's first column, grid of 0. Now we will iterate over the first row for C in range of, I will iterate from the second element which has the index position 1 to the column length. We will add the first row element with the previous element. Grid of first row to C plus equals grid of first row to the previous element, which is C minus 1. Similarly, we will iterate over the first column for R in range of, we will iterate from the second element which has the index position 1 to row column. Row length. We will add the first column element with the previous element, which is grid of R of 0, which is the first column, plus equals grid of R minus 1 of 0. We have iterated over the first row and the first column. Now we will iterate over the remaining grid for R in range of 1, row length for C in range of 1, column length, grid of R C plus equals to min of the two adjacent element, which is grid of R minus 1 of C or grid of R C minus 1. We are adding this grid element with the min of two adjacent elements. Now we will return the last element in the grid. Return grid of row length minus 1, col length minus 1. That's pretty much it. Now let's submit it. There is a typo which is row length. Now let's submit it. Here also it is row length. Our solution got accepted. I hope you like this approach and I am sure that you learned something new today. If you do like this video, please consider to subscribe and I will see you in yet another interesting Leetcode interview question. Thank you.